My name is Harris, and many people call me Chip. I'll tell you now, I'm getting older now, so when I have younger people around, I'm trying to figure out what they need to call me. You know, people my age, Chip is fine. I guess if you got kids that are up there, then you can go with the Chips. But for kids, you know, I'm trying to figure out. I've been passive, you know. I've been a lot of things. I'm really just trying to be Chip. But you can't really do that for the kids because it doesn't teach respect, and respect is what we need. We need some misters and some missuses, some yes sirs, and some no sirs going on. Now, the way I got into Black history is because my mom was really heavy into it when I was a kid. I was born in 1961. Right to is history at all. I just don't. Dr. King was alive during my lifetime. That's not a historical figure to me. Malcolm X was alive during my lifetime. That's not a historical figure to me. You know what I mean? If somebody's alive while you was alive, then that makes you a historical figure. I ain't a historical figure. I'm only 59. You know what I mean? So I want y'all to understand where I come from before I tell you about all this stuff I got. Okay? So when I was younger, these young people's age and whatnot, of course, you know, 1968, 69, 70, we were seeing caskets coming down the street. We were seeing these deaths. We were actually seeing them. When I was their age, I was like, what's going on? You know, when King died, everybody in the house was sad. Everybody in the world was sad, blah, blah. You know, I was a kid. I didn't really quite get it. I didn't really quite get the importance of who this man was at the time, you know. But my mom was heavy into history, and this is the reason why. She believed that power was lost, and the only way we could figure out how to get it back was to go out back in history and figure out where it got lost. You know, so that's what I did. I followed on that track with Mom, and I decided that this country teaches us history in a way as to keep us subservient, or as to keep us feeling in a lower class. When we go to school, we learn history that starts in the 1600s. It's like some magical white guy came with a pocket full of, you know, nigger beans, as they say, and just threw them out in Virginia, and we mysteriously sprouted up on the planet somewhere in Virginia. So all of our history begins with servitude, right? I like to tell the story of back in the day. My dad was in the Navy. We lived all over the place, but when I was their age, I lived in Virginia Beach. In Virginia Beach, I don't know, it was here. They don't do it no more, I don't think. But when we were in school, you had to go to Colonial Williamsburg. Mm-hmm. School bus packed up, we rolled out to Colonial Williamsburg in Jamestown. But most times that was the same trip, right? You House of Burgesses, you all of this stuff, right? You all of this stuff. Now, I get on the school bus and we roll out to Jamestown. I'm in, Williamsburg. Now, I went to school in Virginia Beach, 60, 68, 69, 64, 65, 67. I'm in Virginia Beach. My dad's in the Navy, and so everybody I go to school with is white. So as the country is battling the segregation, desegregation, all of this stuff, I'm not really feeling it like that because I'm in a white environment. I'm going to school on a Navy base. I'm going to school with captain's kids. I don't realize there's no difference. I go visit my cousins who live in the north, and they got real attitudes of white people. I really didn't have such an attitude. You know what I mean? I didn't really get into the most prejudiced pieces till I got older. But as a kid, I was taken care of pretty good, which created a problem later in life. I'll tell you about it later, because I didn't quite understand. I always thought I could do everything the white dudes did. As I got older, I learned I couldn't. So it was something I had to learn in reverse. You know what I mean? In reverse. But I had an education that was superior to theirs. I was smarter than everybody in my class all the time. Me and my sisters made sure that there was an A to be had. Listen to me. If there's an A to be had, have it. All right? If there's knowledge to be gotten, get it. Get it. Your brain will retain it. You'll never forget it. But anyway, so I decided, let me get into this heavier and heavier, because the biggest question I laid out to myself is, why slavery? What happened? How did this happen? Right? Is everybody following all the posts on Facebook and everything about the bodies being snatched? The black people being snatched, the women are being snatched in the parking lot, the men are being snatched for their bodies, organs, people being snatched. All right? The system of slavery was the most ever that any man put on any other man. There was more people snatched and killed than you hear the Jews talking about their diaspora. Nowhere near. The numbers don't even compare. The numbers don't even compare. The time frame that it was going on don't even compare to the amount of people that died in the Middle Passage. Don't even compare. But if I'm just looking at it from a slavery point of view, I'm subservient off the jump, right? White people are better than me. You ever hear people, brothers and sisters have this mentality that white people have it all? White people have everything, but we have nothing. Right? That's how we think. The white man got nothing. He got it. We don't have it. We always struggle. I hate that word struggle. You hear brothers talk about the struggle. Well, we're in the struggle. We're in the struggle. Stop saying struggle. Stop saying struggle. You're living. You're living just fine. If you think you're struggling, you are. If you think the white man's discouraging, that is bothering you, this white system, let me clear this up too. When we deal with prejudice, I told you I was raised with white people. I'm not a prejudiced person. I'm prejudiced against the white institution that this government is. Not any white person. People are people. That's why white people marry black people marry white people, or you hear some white dude say to you or some white dude, yeah, I'm not prejudiced, I got all kinds of black friends. Right? Because you can't against a racist society that systematically downs you, you can definitely have a problem with that. Right? And if you go to work, and those of you up here, I don't know how old you ladies are, I'm just going to jump in and say y'all are in my generation. Just cover it like that. Just blanket it out like that. We know that you can't even complain about being black. Is that true? You can't complain about being black. You can't complain that the system's doing this to you and the system's doing that. People tell you, shut up. Right? Or you become a militant. Right? A white person who believes in the superiority of the white race is called what? A white supremacist. A black man or a black person who believes in the superiority of the black race is called what? A black militant. Militant. We militants, they supremacists. Everything about what they do and the way the system teaches keeps us in the lower level. And it's a mental trickery. I got my book here. And I just want to show you something. Like I said, I got so much stuff you wouldn't believe. So I began looking for black people around the world. Where was we before slavery? What was we doing before 1600s? Right? What was we doing? And that's how we're going to walk through this. I'm going to show you how I got this set up so y'all can walk around looking. But one of the first things I want to show you is this. This is my favorite section of what I do. See that? This is the book. Right. See this? Let me show you some of these things. I'll show it to you. See this? This is Egypt. These are on the walls of Egypt. Egypt is the oldest civilization known to man. Period. We've all studied Bible. In the Bible, they talk about Solomon's temple, how great it was. But they can't find it. Right? There's a whole bunch of stuff they tell you about in the Bible they can't find. All these great things they built. The stuff the brothers built, still standing there now. You can go see it right now. You can go see it right now. All the Freemasonry, the brick masonry, all of that, out of Egypt. Let me just tell you Egypt. Let me just tell you this. There is no known bondage in Egypt. We learned that from Charlton Heston. Remember, we kept watching Ten Commandments, the slaves were built and everything. They've never proven that. They've never proven that there was bondage in Egypt. What I want you to see is the color of the people. Do you think the Egyptians painted these people this color by accident? Oops, my bad. Do you think they painted themselves how they looked? So boom. So we already see that years and years and years and years and years ago, we're already running it all. We're running it all. Why? Because there's an original man here. Right? There's a loss of power, and I've had time. I will tell you about it. Don't want to bore y'all. But I want to just show y'all some things that pique your interest, okay? This is a guard. Y'all see him? I'll pass him around to you. Y'all see him? Anybody want to guess what he's guarding? Anybody want to guess what he's guarding? There are 12 such deeds or even more. I'm going to tell you what he's guarding, where he's built at, and where he's standing at.
Tombs.
He is standing on the Great Wall of China. The original man there is black too. The Chinese made a mistake when they painted him up there, and when they built the wall and painted this guy black, they said, ooh, my bad again. He don't look Chinese. Or did they paint correctly who rightfully goes there? Did they put the right guards on their wall that all these people died building this crazy miles? Then they get, let's go ahead and put a couple black people up here by the state. No. This is the original man. We are the original man everywhere. I'm going to show you a little trickery here. I love this one here. How the system tricks you. All right. This came out in the newspaper years ago. It's one of my favorite articles. It says, chess player from New York is first black grandmaster. Y'all got it? See? Young fella looking good. Now, we on face value, we be like proud of that, right? Like, wow, first brother doing this. And we still the first brother doing a whole bunch of junk, ain't we? But I happen to have this picture here, and I have it in color at the house, of these Morris brothers playing chess in the 1400s. None of them was smart enough to be a master? In the 1400s? Is this guy the first black grandmaster? No way. No way. But they want you to believe that your accomplishment is just now. We just now got smart enough to learn how to play chess, but we've been playing it since the 1400s. Somebody finally won the game. 500 years later, somebody beat somebody finally. This brother here finally broke through the barrier. And you understand where I'm going with this trickery that we have to get through to deal with our people, to properly teach our kids, to put the right pride. And this book here is so big, y'all. I like to get into that, but I got so much stuff in there. It's just nuts. Let me just say this. All the stuff you see on this table is here because of my wife. So my wife was just a school teacher when he was in Huntington. Years ago, I used to collect all this stuff, and it was just, because I was studying for me. I was collecting stuff, going to study for me, I was a member of groups out of Georgia, different places who studied all the stuff. If you go in my house, I got a whole library rack full of stuff, VHS, CDs, I got all this stuff. Craziness, my whole wall is a library built against the wall. But I had so much stuff, and one day my wife said, baby, you got to protect this stuff. So while you was in school, my wife was slipping off to the place at Huntington, and she was laminating everything I owned. Everything you see laminated up here was laminated at Huntington Middle School. every single piece was laminated at Huntington Middle School. Everything was there. Now, as we move down the wall, because I'm going to leave it, I want you to understand. Anybody familiar with the Moors? What do you know about the Moors?
I just know that they were not really, I don't know if they were originated as religious, but they were the blacks before us, and I believe they were one of the first actual presidents before the United States.
Okay, you got a little couple tidbits in there. You got a nice couple of tidbits in there. You put it together. If you look at me and my wife's, you look at my wife and I's marriage certificate, where it says race, ours says more. Ours says more, and I'm going to tell you how it comes to be that.
Men of the water.
But when we went to get our marriage certificate, because you get that from the court, correct? You go to clerk of courts, fill out the paperwork. We fill out the paperwork, I hand it to the lady, and the lady starts to walk away, and I tell my wife, she'll be right there. I don't want to happen. She gets to her desk, I see her, she's looking at it, she sees the word more, knows nothing about it, comes back and says to me, Mr. Smith, you can't put that up there. I said, yes, I can. I said, I know what it is, even if you don't. She goes back, all those clerk of courts work for who? Judges. She goes back, she calls the judge on his phone, comes back and says, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. You're right, you're absolutely right, you can use this. Why? Because judges and stuff know stuff you don't. They know what's real and what's not. All right? The Moors are who we are from the beginning. Coming out of northern Africa, they conquered Spain. If you recall, the Rock of Gibraltar is named after a Moor named Gibraltari. All right? The Moors ruled Spain. Now, when you look at your history, anytime you see anything coming out of Africa, that's why they renamed it the Middle East. Ain't no such place as the Middle East. No place. Why? They don't want you to know that all that's black people. So they invented a spot. No, we just call that the Middle East. We just call it that's the Middle East. Ain't nobody black. But everything Africa, they have a tape. They have you talk. It's interactive. Here, go ahead on. Because see, what I do is I spark people. They start talking. I spark them all.
People don't realize the color change as people migrate.
Boom, boom. And there's a tape. What's my tape on that? The
I'm
Real Eve.
Yeah, I'm a PBS person.
PBS has the Real Eve.
Right, and so when you left the equator,
You got further away.
you got further away, your skin tones changed.
Right.
Start losing pigment.
Changed
Right.
because of your environment.
Right.
Yeah, they come
the
from the
curly
Caucasus
hair,
Mountains
the
down.
curly hair, like your fro, the curly hair and all of that, and the darker skin is so that we could diffuse the sunlight with our hair. It would diffuse as a protector. It would diffuse. And everything in life is coiled anyway. I would say this, European are straight line people. Everything they do is straight line. Everything is really. They're linear people. They're linear people. They think in a straight line. They don't think with flavor. Coil, curves. The reason the noses are big because the water, the air was hot down there. And we needed to super cool it before it got to our lungs. As the migration happened and they got further and further away from the equator, the air got cooler. So they didn't need as much air. They had to get tighten them boys up so they could heat that air and not freeze their lungs. This is just thousands, like you said. Thousands of years, PBS does have some good stuff. The Real Eve is good. Look, you ain't got to be sorry for knowing nothing.
Save a lot.
Was in the train station in Rome. There were some African men in there. I was with my husband, but I couldn't keep my eyes on them. They were tall. They were like over 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
They were very, very stable.
I wish I knew what part of Africa they.
But they were in the train station in Rome. We were ex-Navy and we were
Right.
going down to
Ex-native to thing.
right, going down to the forts.
Natives.
Navy.
Uh-huh.
And they were the most stately people that I had. Black on